This is the Tri-State Area's news leader, Channel 7 Eyewitness News, with Bill Beutel, Diana Williams, Scott Clark with sports, Sam Champion with the exclusive AccuWeather forecast, and the Eyewitness News team. Now, Eyewitness News.
He murdered his children, but the killer who asked to die wiped tears from his eyes when jurors spared him death.
Good evening, I'm Bill Beutel.
And I'm Diana Williams.
Everett Costner says he murdered his son and daughter because they were better off dead than raised, not as Jews, but as Christians by their mother. Today, the jury deciding his punishment for all that recommended life in prison. More now from Lucy Yang.
52-year-old Avi Costner, surrounded by his lawyers, learned his fate in court today, life in prison for killing his children.
The term of years for each murder are between 30 years and life imprisonment, of which at least 30 years shall be served without parole.
It took the jury just 2 hours to decide Costner's fate. This after the foreman was dismissed this morning, buckling under the pressure. An alternate was moved in, and by this afternoon, a decision was reached. Just as this trial was getting started last month, Costner pled guilty to murdering 12-year-old Beth and 10-year-old Ryan. This photo from earlier, happier times. He told the court he killed them 3 years ago because he didn't want them raised as Christians by his ex-wife, Lynn Meissen. After the verdict today, Meissen says she didn't have a preference between the death penalty or life in prison. She just wanted justice.
My ex-husband will die in jail, one way or the other. I am not disappointed.
Meissen's parents who lost their only grandchildren.
You look at the face of that man. If you wanted a definition of evil in Webster's or anything, all you would have to do was put Avi Costner.
As for defense claims that Costner was mentally unstable, Meissen today argued he knew exactly what he was doing, that he is the master of manipulation. In Hackensack, Lucy Yang, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
And the judge will sentence Costner on May 16th.
Police say they have caught the serial rapist who has been on the loose in Brooklyn for the last year and a half. 24-year-old Mark Fergus is charged with rapes in Crown Heights Borough Park in Kensington. Officers nabbed him last night, staking out rooftops where he allegedly roamed before striking.
Why'd you go back? This is his M.O. Up on a rooftop, down a fire escape bedroom, or into an apartment. With the stuff that we got him with, some of it matches very closely with that was described by some of the victims in the prior crimes.
Police say Fergus staked out women who lived alone, then raped and robbed them. A resident of the Manhattanville Towers in Harlem is charged tonight with causing last night's explosion there. Police say 40-year-old Gary Renelick intentionally tinkered with a gas line, lit a candle, and then left his apartment moments before the blast. 5 apartments were destroyed, 21 people were hurt. Investigators say Renelick had problems with his neighbors.
A gunman is on the loose tonight. He's wanted for shooting and killing a subway token clerk in Queens. It happened this morning at the Vernon Boulevard, Jackson Avenue station in Long Island City. Police say 60-year-old Robert LeBright was removing tokens when he was shot once in the chest. Friends say LeBright had been with the Transit Authority for 27 years and transferred from Manhattan because he thought it would be safer elsewhere.
He felt that it was a safer and better place to be at and finish up his time. It's too bad. It's too bad.
$20,000 reward is offered for information leading to the arrest of LeBright's killer. The district attorney in Queens is ordering an immediate investigation of a police shooting. There are accusations that the deadly force was uncalled for. Jim Dolan.
Family members look to each other now, but there is little comfort to be found.
He didn't deserve to get killed. They shot him. They had no right. They opened the door and came straight in.
Deonorine Matan was 41 years old and never once with police until the day he was gunned down by a police officer inside his Queens apartment building.
We have taken away our most beloved, and they acted with too much haste. Their job is not to come and kill. Their job is to come and help.
Matan's wife called 911 after the two were involved in a domestic dispute. The couple's 18-year-old son broke up the argument, and father and son walked out of the apartment together. When police arrived on the scene, Matan was coming down the stairs with a kitchen knife in his hands. Police say they told him to stop, but he didn't. Police say they told him to drop the knife, but he didn't. And police say they even sprayed him with mace, but still Matan lunged toward them. That's when police shot him dead, according to them. But family members who claim to be eyewitnesses tell a far different story of that encounter.
Did they ask him to drop the knife?
No, nothing.
Did they say, if you don't drop the knife, we're going to shoot?
No, they didn't say nothing to him.
Police claim the shooting was justified. Queens District Attorney Richard Brown will conduct an independent investigation.
We believe that we will have a full and complete and thorough understanding of all of the facts and circumstances.
Family members are waiting to see what that investigation shows. Jim Dolan, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
The Queens DA says toxicology tests are being done to see if mace was used to control the situation, as police officers say it was.
In politics, House Speaker Newt Gingrich is hit with some harsh words tonight from a fellow Republican. New York Congressman Peter King says Gingrich is, quote, roadkill in the highway of American politics. King writes those biting words in the Weekly Standard. It's a conservative newspaper. Gingrich is struggling to reassert his leadership after being reprimanded for ethical misdeeds earlier this year. Adelphi University's ousted president is the focus tonight of a big lawsuit by New York State's top law enforcer. The Long Island school had been headed by Peter Diamandopoulos, but last month he and his board of trustees were forced out. Now Attorney General Dennis Vacco is suing Diamandopoulos and his board for allegedly squandering millions in school dollars. The former trustees say the lawsuit is politically motivated.
Overseas, tensions boiled over in the Middle East for another day. Israeli soldiers fired rubber bullets and tear gas into crowds of rock-throwing Palestinians in the West Bank. At least a dozen Palestinians were injured. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu blamed Yasser Arafat's Palestinian Authority for encouraging the violence.
The terrorist groups Hamas and Islamic Jihad, possibly another terrorist group as well, understood that it is all right for them to go out and begin to bomb people.
And because of the violence, the West Bank and the Gaza Strip were sealed off from Israel for the third day in a row. Before long, there could be more than 600 American troops in Central Africa. That is the figure from the Pentagon. It's moved in 300 troops so far, preparing for a possible evacuation of Americans from Zaire. Rebel forces are staging a pitched battle there, potentially endangering the 500 or so American civilians in Zaire.
And still ahead, the desperate search for two young girls kidnapped and spotted thousands of miles away from home.
Plus, a decision that affects every woman. Experts finally agree as to when women should have mammograms. And you saw Cuba Gooding bring down the house at tonight's Oscars. We'll take you behind the scenes for more reaction. Your Oscar Roundup, live from L.A., next on Eyewitness News.
Well, yeah, you know.
Tips are trickling in tonight to the FBI after two girls were kidnapped from Michigan on Friday. 9-year-old Teresa Hayner and her 6-year-old sister Jessica disappeared in a cream-colored station wagon. There were sightings of the girls Sunday at a church in Gainesville, Florida. Warrants have been issued for the arrest of two men believed driving the car, Ronald Stafford and Rick Gear. A Florida medical examiner tonight says 3-year-old Adam Binford died quickly from drowning after an 11-foot alligator attacked him on Friday. He was covered in bites, and the alligator had bitten his left arm off. The little boy had been playing on the banks of a Central Florida lake when he was snatched.
An angry protest today from the group that's been fighting for increased AIDS research for 10 years past. Hundreds of ACT UP demonstrators rallied outside the New York Stock Exchange today. They say drug companies are making huge profits by charging extraordinarily high prices for life-saving drugs. More than 50 people were arrested for disorderly conduct. ACT UP's very first demonstration was at that same place 10 years ago. And for the fourth year in a row, fewer cases of tuberculosis are being reported nationwide. The number of new cases dropped last year to the lowest level since the government began keeping track of the disease in the 1950s. Doctors say the current trend is a sign that TB may one day be eliminated in the United States, as we used to think it was.
No, breast cancer certainly has not been eliminated, but tonight some of the controversy over when a woman should get a mammogram is finally nearing an end.
I'm just going to sneak my hand in there.
45-year-old Jeannie Pfeiffer is getting radiation treatment for a cancerous breast tumor. Her self-exam found it, and a mammogram confirmed it.
I think women need to have their mammograms, but in between the mammograms every year, they need to do self-examinations.
The American Cancer Society echoes that advice. Its board of directors approved a new guideline this weekend, annual screenings starting at age 40. The recommendation comes 2 months after other cancer experts couldn't decide on a guideline. Their advice to have women decide for themselves was strongly criticized.
These are just very large calcifications that don't mean anything.
Doctors admit cancer is hard to spot in some x-rays of women in their 40s, but they say a consistent guideline is critical for women to get an insurance-paid mammogram.
We would not want an insurance company to come in and say you can't do a test until it's absolutely proven to be effective.
The National Cancer Institute is expected to follow the American Cancer Society in recommending mammograms for women in their 40s.
And still ahead, Sam Champion's exclusive AccuWeather forecast. Brace yourself for wind.
But at least it's not this, where you can find spring snow. We'll show you coming up next on Eyewitness News.
Little kids rule the mountaintop. That's the way it looks anyway, with all the fresh snow pounding down in Winter Park, Colorado. Spring brought a fresh 8 inches of snow out there. So if you're one of those people who wanted to see some real snow this past winter, this could be your last chance. So take a very good and close look.
And I'm happy for them and happy for us that we don't have any right now, and it doesn't look like we're going to have any for a while, right?
No, the next 12 hours really the coldest of the forecast period. It looks like it will be very spring-like toward the end of the week, but let's walk the wall. We'll show you exactly what's going on out there at this hour. Temperatures, well, have dropped a bit. 39 degrees. We're going down for another cold night. Relative humidity at 32%. Barometer is still rising at this point. High pressure still with us, though. It's right on the edge of the coastline. Southwestern winds at 9 miles per hour. 46-27 seems to be the split of the day. We will drop down, but not as cold as we were last night. By the way, still can check out Comet Hail Bop. You can see it pre-dawn northeastern or early evening northwestern sky, and that'll run at least through the month of March and into, I believe, the first part of April. 19 degrees right now in the northern corner. 25, 28. It seems to be the northern tier numbers are running anywhere from 28 to 32 right across the middle. 45 degrees still in the Jersey shoreline, showing up as the warmer numbers. Satellite picture started early and then run it through, and you can see the clouds are getting closer and closer to us as they're streaking in through central New Jersey right now. That because we're losing this cushion of the little high pressure, and then that weather disturbance off to the west is starting to slide in here with some of that moisture. This right now is a freezing mix moving in through central Pennsylvania, also western Pennsylvania, western New York State with a little light snow here. By the time it gets here, and it is probably tomorrow evening in through tomorrow night, it will be some showers. Most of that moisture will drive on up through northern New England and miss us completely, delivering another light snowfall to the areas like the ski areas in northwestern really Vermont, New Hampshire, and on into Maine. So early in the morning you'll wake up, and don't be surprised if these numbers are a couple of degrees cooler than we've got them in northern corners. They seem to be dropping quickly, but 34 degrees will be your city number. It's just numbers like Monticello through Austin where I think it could be 20, 18 degrees and a little cooler than what we were going for, 32 toward Rumson. Thunderstorms will be down in the south, and this will be an area to watch for really strong thunderstorms and thundershowers rumbling through the plains. But for us, what we'll be watching is just some light cloudiness to get in here by mid-morning and stay for a good part of the day. Showers will probably hold off until early evening hours and could even hold off until early Wednesday morning. That's just the way it looks with this system. There won't be much moisture with it, but most of that will drive up, as we said, well to the north and to the west of us. But 48 degrees, just a few degrees warmer than it was today, just 2 steps, so it is colder. It's still cold tomorrow. We'll try to warm it up a bit after that. Lake clouds is the way to call that with some early sunshine, and you might even see fully sunny skies when you wake up in the morning, but shortly thereafter, the clouds get in the picture. AccuWeather forecast looks like this. 34 degrees, partly cloudy, early chill out there in the morning, and you'll notice it at 34, not as cold as it was the morning last, though. 48 degrees, early sun, some late clouds, and I think by evening hours there could even be a sprinkle. Some of those sprinkles will last into Wednesday morning. Wednesday afternoon, they're out. 58 degrees is a very nice number, and you can see we stay in the 50s for the rest of the week.
I like that number. Thank you, Sam.
Sam, thank you very much. Still ahead, big upset on Oscar night.
A lot of us surprised. Lauren Bacall gets snubbed. We are backstage with the surprise winner and her reaction coming up next on Eyewitness News.
Closed captioning made possible by your local Chrysler and Plymouth dealer.
His Oscar night and celebration is not just an affair for the West Coast. Here in the Big Apple, Michael Caine showed his winning ways at a party to Lane's on the Upper East Side. Modest affair compared to all the hoopla happening in Hollywood, where Lisa Salters joins us now live. Lisa?
Well, Bill, what this year's Oscars may have lacked in truly emotional Academy Award moments. It's certainly made up for in drama. If you think about it, of just about all of the major categories, we had no idea who was going to win. Of course, now we do know who the winners are, and we're going to take a look at who those winners are. And quite a few of those winners even surprised a few folks tonight.
The Academy asked me to host the Oscars again. What do you think? Show me the money!
Oscar host Billy Crystal knew who was favored to take home the award for Best Supporting Actor, but no one could have predicted Cuba Gooding Jr.'s enthusiastic acceptance speech. He continued giving his thank yous, though being cued by the orchestra to sit down, bringing the audience to its feet.
Everybody involved with the movie, I love you! Oh my goodness, here we are!
That music came in quick. Did y'all notice that? They got 4 hours for the show.
The surprise of the night was who went home with the Oscar for Best Supporting Actress. Not Hollywood legend Lauren Bacall, as expected, but the English patient Juliette Binoche.
It feels like a dream still, you know? It feels unreal. And I don't believe I have this in my hand.
For Best Actress, the Academy Award went to Frances McDormand for her role in Fargo.
It is impossible to maintain one's composure in this situation. What am I doing here? Especially considering the extraordinary group of women with whom I was nominated.
Jeffrey Rush took home the Oscar for Best Actor.
And to the unstoppable David Helfgott, you truly are an inspiration. And to those people who say it's a circus, then with your celebration of life, you show me that the circus is a place of daring and risk-taking and working without a safety net.
And finally, the award for Best Picture. It went to The English Patient. So overall tonight, the big winner certainly was by far The English Patient, nominated for 12 awards. It's taking home 9. The last time that a film did that was back in 1988. In case you're wondering where all the stars are headed for now, of course, it's to the annual Governor's Ball hosted every year after the Academy Awards. This year, the man providing all the good food, internationally renowned chef Wolfgang Puck. Wish I was going. Diana, back to you.
Okay, thank you very much, Lisa. And while Hollywood celebrates Oscar tonight, a few stars are playing down their Razzies, the awards that pay tribute to the worst in film. Striptease, starring Demi Moore, was the year's worst picture. Moore was also worst actress, according to the Golden Raspberry Foundation, which spoofs the Oscars. Tied for worst actor, Tom Arnold for Big Bully and Pauly Shore for Biodome. Bill Cosby and his wife Camille are threatening to sue the National Enquirer. They want a retraction of statements suggesting that Mrs. Cosby hired gunmen to find her son Ennis's killer and that she was on the verge of a nervous breakdown. The paper says the firm the Cosbys hired is licensed to use guns.
Scott Clark is up next with Sports of the Day. The Rangers battle the Penguins.
And playoff positioning is on the line. We've got all the sports just ahead on Eyewitness News.
But first, here are tonight's winning New York lottery numbers, which were drawn earlier this evening or last night.
And for those of you holding New Jersey tickets, here are your winning numbers. And now tonight's Lucky Day Drawing.
Welcome to the live Lucky Day Drawing for Monday, March 24th, 1997. Now let's go to the computer screen where tonight's winning date and number are being randomly selected. Tonight's winning year is 1911. The winning month is May. And now for the winning day. The winning day is the 10th, making tonight's winning date May 10th, 1911. The lucky number to win up to $100,000 cash on average and a bonus prize is the number 7. And the special bonus prize for tonight's drawing is a Ford Explorer Deluxe. If this is your lucky day and number, you've just won up to $100,000 cash on average and a Ford Explorer Deluxe. And now for the Take 5 winning numbers, just drawn under the observation of KPMG Pete Marwick. The numbers are 20, 17, 28, 31, and 27. I'm Bob Manasir. Thank you for joining us, and have a good night.
Scott Clark now, the Rangers and the Penguins.
Yes, and 3 of the best hockey players to lace up the skates, grace the Garden Ice, probably for the last time. Gretzky, Messier, Lemieux. Super Mario is expected to retire after this season. This would be his final skate then on the Garden Ice. He was joined by Mark Messier, who was questionable with a sore leg, but this was a big game, so Messier was there. So was the speedy Mike Eastwood. Leading 1-0 in the second, Eastwood slaps it up top and beats Patrick Lalline. That for his first goal as a Ranger. That to give the Rangers a 2-0 lead. And how about Mike Richter, a busy fellow tonight? Say hello to your old pal Eddie Olczyk. Hey now, Richter was back with 34 saves and a shutout. Finally, there was the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Steals from Ian Moran and scores his 860th career goal. Rangers go 4 points up on Pittsburgh with a 3-0 victory as Mario Lemieux says goodbye. On the board, Montreal beat Boston 3-1. Los Angeles and Vancouver tied at 2 in the third. The Nets hosted the Lakers last night, but before they did, Nets head coach John Calipari addressed his handling of the ethnic phrase he used against Star Ledger beat reporter Dan Garcia last Thursday.
I've apologized to Dan personally and in writing, and in no way was my intent to be derogatory in a racial context, and I am sorry for the pain my remarks have caused.
All right, so that said, the Nets went out and took on the Lakers. Nobody said anything about taking them down, but they did that. The Nets were rolling in the first half. Kerry Kittles hits for 3, and yeah, Bracky goes, and with good reason, knocks the ball loose, forces the turnover, and gets right back into the shooting mode again. That to give the Nets a 10-point advantage, but the Lakers counter with Nick Van Exel, who had 23, and here with a man all over him. Still found a way to alley-oop his man, Eldon Campbell. Check out the rookie from Connecticut, Travis Knight. 18 points, 14 bounds. Ladies and gentlemen, the Nets are officially out of the playoff picture, 109-84. Could you tell? There's baseball to be had tonight. There's a long ball to be hit. There's a party going on at Thomas White Stadium, where at least there was. Here we go. To Port St. Louis, say it looks like he got started a little early. But oh, what you can miss in this timeless game if you don't keep your eyes open. Like the first homer of the year for Todd Hundley. Did you see that? Mother's checking. I don't think he did. Then how about this? Bottom of the ninth. Mets down 5-4, 2 aboard. Mark Mordecai blows the bunny with 2 outs. 2 Mets come home. That gives the Mets a 6-5 win over the Braves. How about that? That'll get your motor running. Hey, let's go have a beer on that one, honey. It's time to move. You know, this afternoon, the boss traveled to Winter Haven to watch his Yankees take on the Indians. Impressive. Yes, Jorge Posada impressed the great Czech writer in the 7th inning. Yankees trailed 4-3 until this 3-run home run. Yankees down the Indians, final 6-4. UConn's national championship dreams have been dashed for the 2nd straight year by Tennessee. The Lady Vols had spoiled the Lady Huskies' bid for the NCAA championship last year, and they did it again this time around. Shamik Holtzclaw led the way with 21 points, defending champion Tennessee on its way to sending Gino Auriemma and UConn down and out. In the Midwest Regional Final, 91-81, the dance continues for Tennessee. I'm Scott Clark. That's it for sports.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Scott.
Yes, ma'am.
Still ahead, the escapees who were hopping mad.
The big chase is next on Eyewitness News.
Looking ahead to today, Tuesday, the 25th of March, the Federal Reserve meets to consider a possible hike in interest rates. O.J. Simpson is expected to file on the last day possible for a new wrongful death trial. Former President Bush skydives into the Arizona desert with the Army's Golden Knights. Eyewitness News is back at 5:30 with Nancy Liu and Rob Hanrahan.
Finally, police officers had to jump to it to capture some daring escapers. That's because 3 rare albino kangaroos were on the lam in Adelaide, Australia. An hour standoff ended when the escaper's owner managed to catch one of his unusual pets. The 2 others then gave up in exchange for some more milk. It sounds pretty nice right now, doesn't it?
I was going to say, we could use some. Anyways, that's the news for now. I'm Diana Williams.
Nightline is next with more on the Oscars. For Diana and Sam and Scott, all of us at Eyewitness News, I'm Bill Beutel. Thank you a lot. Good luck. Be well. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.
Good night.